Hello students, I am here to discuss the course called as Disaster Management in this semester. The course code is GE8071. It is an elective paper. So in the 7th semester, Disaster Management is kept as an elective paper for the final year students. So what is the importance of disaster management in 7th semester? Why a management paper is kept in the 7th semester for circuit branch students? Okay, so why we are studying this paper? What is its importance? Now all of you are in 7th semester. The next year or after 8 months, you will be in a society where many of you will be holding a professional job, that is software developers or hardware engineers. Some of you will become bankers or maybe working in banking sector. Many of you may become managers and few of you can become entrepreneurs also. So each and everyone will be working in the society for the betterment of the society and the individual. Whatever role you play in the society, you will have responsibility in your hand. Whether you are an entrepreneur, a banker, or a professional, as soon as you enter into the society, you will have a responsibility. It is very important to keep the point in mind that whatever action you are going to take, that action can affect hundreds or thousands of people around you. So we have to be very, very careful. So whenever you play an important role in the society, responsibility comes. So what type of responsibility you have? Some of you will have designing responsibility, manufacturing responsibility, financial responsibility, or in case you can have safety also. So all these are different types of responsibilities where each and everyone can play in the society. Now when you have responsibility, if there is a sudden accident, now your actions are going to play an important role there. So whenever an accident occurs or whenever there is a problem, how you are going to handle it? Okay, how you are going to handle it? How your actions are going to save the people? Okay, it is very, very important. Saving people after an accident is different. Okay, for example, if you are a manager, okay, if you think that a financial crisis is going to come, so if you are intelligent, then you must understand the situation and you must develop solutions such that if there is a financial crisis, how it is going to affect your firm, what are the steps that can be taken such that it gives only minimal loss to your company or the firm, only minimum loss. Okay, so if you plan and take actions, then you are a good manager. It is also a responsibility. So such responsibility can protect lot of people around you. Okay, your profit may get reduced, but no need to lay off employees. Okay, your margin may come down, but you can save people from some disasters. Okay, so responsibility comes in our hand. So due to this point, or keeping this point in mind, we have taken this paper, disaster management, in the 7th semester. Okay. Now the subject code is, or the course code is G8071. So disaster management. So in this paper, you are going to study about what are the different types of disasters which occurs in this world, and what type of steps we can take before the occurrence of disasters. Certain disasters or the accidents may be coming without our knowledge. So for such type of disasters, what actions we are going to take after the disaster. So we are going to study all these things in our subject, disaster management, different types of disasters and their management strategies. Okay, now before discussing about the different units in this paper, we have to give importance for the disasters. Okay, so before starting that, just I want to mention how people give importance to disasters. So here I have listed few movies which were blockbuster in Hollywood. Okay, all these movies were blockbuster movies which gained much importance from our society. Okay, for example, San Andreas, Geostorm, wave, earthquake, hurricane, volcano, the core, 2012, Twister, Gravity, famous movie Titanic, Poseidon, Dante's Peak, Deep Impact. Okay, these are some of the movies which were taken based on some natural disasters. See, they got huge public applause because people were afraid about those disasters. Okay, everybody will have fear if that disaster comes to our area. What will happen? How disasters will occur? So, due to that, these films have gained importance in the few other films, that is Contagion, Perfect Sense, Inferno, Pandemic, our Tamil movie Dasavadaram, Revolution, Waterworld, Postman, Inside Job. So we will discuss all these films in the coming slides. So why I have listed films in 2 slides? Okay, so there is a reason. If you see the films, all are different. One film is based on volcano eruption, and another film based on earthquake. Twister, a film based on tornadoes. Okay, Titanic, a film based on faulty design of the ship. Okay, then Inferno, a film based on deadly virus. Okay, Dasavadaram, okay, biochemical weapon, film based on biochemical weapon. Pandemic, okay, film based on deadly virus. 2012, okay, 2012, a film based on earthquake and volcano eruption. The Wave, film based on tsunamis. Okay, so each and every film is based on some disasters. Okay, while watching the movie, you might have seen that is especially in San Andreas in 2012, some people know that such disasters are going to come either before 2 hours or some weeks or before some months itself. But when you discuss about such activity in the society, 90% will not believe. So it won't come to our place. Okay, we are safe from such disasters. Okay, but all of a sudden, when that activity comes in our place, we are very much panicked and we don't know what to do. Okay, so due to that itself, human lives are lost. If we have listened to what others have said or some people have said, and if you have taken precautions, a lot of precious lives might have been saved. Okay, so in this paper, we are going to discuss about it. Okay, what is a disaster? How it may come? Okay, how you are doing that analysis? So pre-analysis, okay, that is preparation. When the disaster comes, what you are going to do after that? Then after that, how we are going to come to our normal life? So all those things will be discussed in these films. Similarly, also we will discuss about it. So these are some of the snapshots of the films that we have discussed. Okay, so what you are going to study in this subject, disaster management. So you'll be having an introductory topic about disaster management, some definitions like disaster, disaster management, what is a hazard, what is a risk, okay, what is rehabilitation, etc. Then you will be discussing about classification and types of disasters. Then we will study about what is disaster management. We will discuss about what are the agencies in India which manages disaster management or disaster preparedness. Then we will discuss about medical and public health response for disaster management. Then public health impact of a disaster. We will discuss about disaster mitigations. Then we will have a case study on recent disasters in India. Then overall disaster management in India and the different agencies. Then finally we will discuss about areas of concerns and future in the management of disasters. So this is a scope of disaster management paper in broader. Okay, now what is disaster? Okay, so disasters are as old as mankind. Okay, so the first description of disaster and its management comes from the mythological story of Noah and his ark. So everybody might have seen the movie called as Noah. Okay, in that movie you might have seen God comes in the dream of Noah and says that he is going to destroy the world because the world is filled with sinsters. So he wants to reduce the population. So he instructs Noah that to build a ark such that he is able to save one pair of all types of animals with him, so that after the disaster the population may spread. So the Noah starts to build a ark and he starts to collect different types of species in pair. Okay, and he took his family also. Then one day suddenly rain starts coming with thunder and lightning. Then it gets strengthened up. After that, huge amount of rain comes and the world gets filled with water. The ark started flowing. After a few years or days, the water gets reduced and Noah lands in a place. So then again the life starts. Okay, so that movie gives the destruction of the world through water. Okay, so from the olden days itself, we have disaster on this world. Okay, similar flood tales or stories are also present in Greek mythology, our Indian Puranas, Mesopotamian stories, And in different types of cultures also, stories regarding floods and disasters were present. Okay, so disasters are as old as mankind history. Okay, so the word disaster comes from astrological theme in which the ancients used to refer the destruction or deconstruction of a star. Okay, so it is nothing but destruction or deconstruction of a star. Our ancient people believed that disaster occurs due to unfavorable position of the planets or act of God. Uh, if you have studied certain movies or stories in books, in some you will get a para that our king died because omens were not perfect. We have got this type of star, planets were arranged like this. Okay, so they believed that a disaster occurs due to unfavorable position of the planets or it is an act of God. Okay, so this diagram shows the Noah's Ark where due to water disaster the world is destroyed and the ark moves in the water where it contains a pair of species for further population growth. Okay, it is a mythological story. So everybody knows what is a dinosaur. Okay, so it is the biggest animal in this world in history. So how these animals were destroyed? Okay, we might have seen in the newspaper that every day scientists were discovering uh, skeletons of dinosaurs which were 100 feet high or 100 meters height. So how these animals might be destroyed or how they were eradicated? So only due to certain bigger events or bigger destructions, these animals might have become destroyed or dead or extinct. Okay, so such extinct or such event will be called as a disaster. Okay, so dinosaurs were extinct due to disasters with water or landslide or volcano or fire. Due to some disaster, dinosaurs become extinct in this world. Okay, now we will come for disaster. So this word was derived from French. Okay, disaster, des, which is called as bad, and astre means star. So in French community or in French country, disaster meaning is a bad star. Okay, the term refers to a bad or evil star. So calamity comes due to position of a planet or a star. So due to arrangement of planets, calamity comes. So bad position. Okay, so disaster is derived from the French word. Okay, now when a disaster comes, what will happen? Okay, that you should know about it. Okay, so when a disaster comes, what will happen? Okay, if you see this diagram, it depicts, okay, disaster is there, and what type of disasters may occur? Okay, from where and all disaster may come. So because simply disaster is a word. Okay, so where disaster may come? So disaster may be natural. It may come in our environment. So like water. Okay, Noah and his ark. So water is the major factor for the disaster. If you have seen the movie volcano, volcanic eruption is the cause. So it is a natural cause. And if you have seen 2012 movie, volcanic eruptions is due to earthquake. If you take San Andreas, okay, larger tsunamis are coming and taking away that particular San Andreas area. So tsunami is produced due to underground earthquake. Okay, so like water, tornadoes, air, okay, or due to earth, disasters may occur. So they are all natural phenomena. Okay, then some other disasters are man-made. Okay, for example, accidents occurring in nuclear power stations. Okay, or accidents occurring in research laboratories, that is, laboratories involving nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Okay, accidents in chemical industries, accidents in biological laboratories. Okay, so these are all some of the disasters which can occur in our human environments. Okay, apart from natural, they may occur in human environments. Okay, then disasters in the society. What are the disasters in the society? Okay, power failure, that is power outage, civil disorder, okay, financial crisis, economic crisis. These are also disasters. Okay, so we should know how they occur. Then extinction events, some events which are threatening to the entire earth itself. Okay, asteroids coming from other planets, or asteroids coming at a faster rate hitting our earth. So such disasters are extinction level events. Okay, so these disasters may be due to different reasons. We will discuss one by one. So this slide explains how disasters or different types of disasters occurring in the world. Okay, so understanding about disasters. Okay, the previous slide we discussed about the examples, broad category of the disasters. So here I have mentioned the subcategories or the classification of disasters. So if you take natural disasters, it is again classified into biological disasters, geophysical disasters, climatical disasters, hydrological disasters, and meteorological. Okay, so biology means epidemics, diseases, viruses. Okay, the insect infection, animal stampede. Okay, all these are biological hazards. Epidemic, mass spreading of certain diseases like malaria, cholera, dengue. All these are epidemic. Pandemic means worldwide. Okay, destruction is huge. Insect infestation. Okay, recently we have seen a lot of desert insects are traveling to India from Pakistan. Okay, such insects may destroy the crops fully, so we will have shortage of food. Okay, animal stampede. Okay, in some areas a big population of animals will be suddenly coming into the society, and they will destroy everything which comes across them. Okay, even human lives will be lost if there is crops. The crops will be destroyed, transportation will be disturbed, so everything will be disturbed. Then geophysical, earthquake, volcano, okay, all those things. Then climatic disasters, okay, heat waves, cold waves, drought, fire, okay, all these are disasters and due to climate. Then hydrological, flood, meteorological, okay, meteorological, under meteorological you'll have storm, cyclone, hurricane, tornado. So all these are natural disasters: biological, geophysical, climatical, hydrological, and meteorological. Then there are some hazards which are created by humans. So human induced hazards, that is nuclear hazards due to technological faults, hazards due to chemical accidents. Okay, so broadly the disasters were by two categories. One is natural hazards and another one is due to human hazards. Okay, man-made disasters and natural disasters. So what happens when a disaster occurs? Okay, so this slide shows, okay, how many people were affected due to natural disasters. So lot of natural disasters have occurred in this world. So here I have given simple examples. Okay, so in 1931 there was a flood in China which killed almost 4 million peoples. Okay, think about the population. In 1970, 500,000 people were dead due to a cyclone in Bangladesh. 500,000. In 1976, due to an earthquake, 400,000 people were dead in China. And recently, in our days, in 2004, in tsunami, 280,000 people were dead across 14 countries due to tsunami. In 2010, 160,000 people were dead due to earthquake in Haiti. Okay, so these were examples for destruction of natural disasters. When a natural disaster comes, toll of human life. Okay, then some examples of man-made disasters. Okay, simply we think that, okay, man-made disasters will be smaller in structure, but man-made disasters are also claiming a huge population. Okay, lot of people are dying due to man-made disasters also. So Titanic, you must have seen the film Titanic. So it is based on an actual accident. So that much people died and that ship accident. Then you might have seen Chernobyl disasters. So it is a nuclear accident which claimed millions of people's life, and till now that area is not suitable for human life. Okay, like that I have given some example for man-made disasters. Okay, every day people die due to man-made disasters, but we are not accounting it. Okay, now what is the impact of disasters? Once a disaster occurs, what will happen? Okay, first and foremost thing is loss of human lives and loss of other lives also, that is animal life, etc. Loss of life, which are all precious. Okay, second one is property damage. So whenever earthquake comes or whenever there is a flood, everything is destroyed. So whatever you have earned or built by earning for 20 years or 30 years, within fraction of seconds or within minutes, everything is destroyed. Loss of livelihood. Okay, farmers losing their animals. Okay, or the property which we have earned. Okay, hard earned property is destroyed. So loss of livelihood. Agriculture, crops were destroyed. Okay, coconut trees which were giving nuts for the farmers. Okay, they were all destroyed. Palm trees. Okay, like that. Fruit bearing trees. So some trees will take 20 years to give fruits. So if earthquake comes and if it is destroyed, then huge loss for the farmers, because they might have spent 30 years of their life in bringing up all those trees. So immediately within minutes, if the trees are destroyed, then it is a huge loss to the agricultural sector. Damage to the environment. Okay, so the environment, we require forest, lakes, deserts, everything. So when a disaster occurs, the environment itself will get changed. Forest will be destroyed, lakes will be filled with sand or something like that. Okay, so environment will get destroyed, or it will be impacted much more. Then due to disasters, epidemics will spread. Okay, lot of new viruses will be generated, or illness will spread in the society, and it will take much time to cure the illness also. Okay, then contamination. So after disasters, lot of people will be dead, and many destructions might have happened, chemicals might have been spilled around. Okay, so the world will be contaminated a lot, and it will take much time to get cured. Okay, so these are the different impacts of disasters, that is loss of life, loss of livelihood, loss of agricultural practice, damage to environment, spreading of diseases, and contamination of earth itself. Okay, so impact of disaster, some examples. So what happens when a disaster occurs, how much we are going to lose, so what is the cost. So an example is given. If you see, everything is in billions of dollars. Okay, $300, 20, 100. Okay, so lot of economic and financial loss due to disasters. Okay, so once the disaster comes, then our economy will get slowed down, and it will take more number of years to regain that economic condition. Okay, so when a disaster occurs, what we can do to prevent it, or how earlier we can predict the occurrence of disasters. Okay, so what we have to do. Okay, first one is, this is called as disaster risk management. Okay, one is responding. Okay, as soon as disaster occurs, how we respond for the disaster. Okay, or if you know a disaster is going to come, how you are going to deal it. Okay, that is responding. Prevention. So if you know that certain cyclone is going to come, okay, then you should do some analysis. Okay, so analysis, then you discuss about with the different agencies, government agencies, private agencies. Okay, then get prepared for it, get ready to place the, okay, get ready to face the disaster. Then once the disaster comes, okay, your plan to recover from it. Okay, so this responding, prevention, addressing, and preparing will make you to reduce the loss. Okay, reduce the loss. Then once the disaster is over, how you are going to recover from that. Okay, these are all very, very important in disaster risk. So measures for prevention of disasters. Okay, so there are two types of phases in disaster management: pre-disaster risk reduction phase and post-disaster recovery phase. So phase before the disaster and phase after the disaster. So before the disaster, what we have to do? So once you, if you know that a disaster is going to come, then we have to prepare ourselves to face it. Preparedness. Then mitigation. So we have to plan how you are going to overcome that. Then if there is any chance, okay, of reducing the disaster or stopping the disaster, then we have to plan for it. That is prevention. Natural disasters cannot be prevented, but man-made disasters or man-made disasters can be mitigated and prevented. So before the occurrence of the disaster, we have to get prepared for it. Then we have to plan for stopping it. Some disasters are 100%. Definitely they will occur, like earthquake, volcanic eruption. So once the disaster occurs, what we have to do? So we have to respond for it. So immediately you should not sit ideally. Once the disaster comes, we have to respond for it. We have to save the people. We have to take the people for a high ground. So something has to be done. So response should be there, recovery, and after the disaster, if there is any financial collision, then we have to plan such that development occurs in that region. So we cannot leave that region. Ideally, we have to plan such that that region also grows with other regions. So development is required. Okay, so the three key phases of activity within disaster management. Pre-disaster phase. So before a disaster, to reduce the potential of human, material or environmental losses caused by hazards, and to ensure that these losses are minimized when the disaster actually strikes. So pre-disaster means planning before the disaster to have minimal loss. Then during the disaster, okay, it is to ensure that the needs and provisions of victims are met to alleviate and minimize suffering. Okay, so during disaster, you help them such that the suffering of the people is minimized. Then post disaster, after disaster, to achieve rapid and durable recovery which does not reproduce the original vulnerable conditions. Okay, so we have to recover from our loss. For that, planning is required. So again, another slide showing the different phases in pre-disaster and post-disaster. Farmers are going to get affected. So you have to analyze who is going to get affected much by the disaster. Okay, then hazard assessment. So what type of problems is going to come? Then what is the destruction size? So all those things you have to do the initial stage. Then if possible, for man-made disasters, you can have some prevention plan. Okay, for example, if you think that a particular place is going to blown away, okay, due to some industrial problem, a particular going to blow away. Okay, so you can take some steps such that if you predict definitely that place is going to blow away, if there is any hazardous material inside, you can put some barricade like structures, for example, such that the chemical substance is not thrown into the society. Okay, it does not affect the people. Okay, so the prevention based on structural measures and non-structural measures. Then based on that, you can get prepared for it. You can warn the people and evacuate the people from those areas. Then when the disaster occurs, how we are going to respond. Okay, then rescue the people, relief measures for the people and rehabilitation of the people. Okay, in long term, the society has to grow or the economy has to rise. Okay, so who is dealing with disaster management in India? So there are different government agencies which handle the disasters. Okay, so for involve themselves during the disaster and managing them effectively. So they analyze what type of disasters will come. Okay, once the disaster comes, what is the plan of action? So these agencies will involve in that. Okay, so in this video we have seen what is a disaster, why a disaster is important, why everybody should know about a disaster, some examples of disasters and the impact of disasters. Okay, then disaster management, then what are the agencies involved in disaster management. So in the next video we will discuss about actually what is a disaster, definition of disaster, causes of disaster, types of disasters, okay, classification of disasters, causes of disasters. Okay, thank you.